faith spiritual center worldwide, where we believe there is a power for good in the universe greater than we are, and we can use it. That's why we are here. This isn't just something that we come and we pump ourselves up. Our daily life is our temple and our religion. So we leave here, and we know that there's a transmission of energy, that everyone we touch, there's a ripple effect. And that through this ripple effect, energetically, and I believe this with all my heart and all my mind and all my soul, that when we another and we touch one another in love and truth and a sense of that connection and oneness, that is what is going to bring world peace to the world. And it's interesting, when we were in London, someone asked me what I was speaking on. This is well over a year ago. And I said, world peace. And he was at desk at the hotel. He went, yeah, right. And I said, it's just that attitude that's going to keep it that far. And here's a who by Dr. Seuss, because it was that one little who in Whoville that made the difference. So, it sort of was lost on him, but he was trying to take it in. But the truth is that, yes, there are wars and rumors of wars, right? There's a lot of stuff that goes on the planet. There is incredible things that, what happened in Charlottesville and all of that. I'm not denying that we have a lot of work to do on the planet. But when we begin to heal ourselves, see, the revolution begins with our absolute resolution to evolve. So when I resolve to evolve, and my stuff comes up in my face, then we have the opportunity to look at it and see what it is, and to grow rather than being defensive. You see, so many people have made a profession of being offended, so they don't have to look at what needs healed. And when we look at what needs to be healed in our life, we heal the whole planet. And when we heal the whole planet within ourselves, that is what is going to ripple out and keep rippling. What did Emerson say? It was a self-evolving circle, imperceptibly small at first, reaching outward into ever-evolving circles toward infinity. That it's just that one little ripple. So we look at thought, word, and speech. I took right out of the Evolution Revolution by Neale Donald Walsch, who was a member of my congregation in San Diego. And Neale was a ghostwriter, and he wrote a lot of very famous people. And I thought that he could take my Sunday messages and put it together, but he had this real wild idea that wasn't me. And I said, no, this isn't working. This isn't me. So we just need to do something different. Why don't you write your own books, Neale? I said, you're such a fabulous writer. If you write your own books, I said, you'll get credit, you'll get the money, because in those days finances were an issue, like they aren't now, right? But incidentally, we have our opportunities to resolve, to evolve. And it's so interesting, his story. If you know his story and you read Conversations with God, and I remember when that came out. He was homeless, he had a notebook, he had a pencil, and he had paper, and he started just doing his conversations with God and hearing the voice of God, which was a universal message. The basis and ground of being was oneness. Oneness. So we get it, that beyond color, race, creed, or sexual orientation, that there is that oneness that brings us together, that energy that allows us to know in whom we live and move and have our being. When we get that in thought, word, and deed, in fact, Ernest Holmes has said it, thoughts are things, words are goals. The thoughts are things is energetically, what kind of thoughts are we entertaining? And can we go to higher ground, as the song just stated? And that when we are looking at things in a lower vibratory frequency, and we all have those moments of our human condition, that we know that our viewpoint depends upon our point of view. And that the Desiderata says, so very beautifully, and such an amazing piece of work, that go placidly amid the noise and haste, and remember what peace there is in silence. As far as possible, be on good terms with all people, even the dull and ignorant, they too have their story. And how many times have we, have people come up to us and, they just start talking and we think, I don't have time for small talk. I mean, please. We know, there's a great quote. Great minds talk about ideas, right? Average minds talk about events. Small minds talk about each other, right? So energetically, we think we don't have time, but it's not about that. Some people need to make that connection. I remember Irma Bombeck, when she was on the planet, she wrote that life, what was it? Life is a chair of bullies. And she was just hysterical. Very funny woman, wonderful comedian. And she said that she was in Chicago and she was at the airport. And that there was a woman that was sitting next to her. And she said they were on their way to Chicago. And she says, "Oh, it must be cold in Chicago." And she said, "I was reading." I said, "Yeah, it must be." I just kept reading. And she says, "Yeah, I hope I brought enough things." She goes, "Well, I hope you did too." And she went back to her reading, "Don't bug me, get out of my face." And then the woman said, "My husband's body is going to be on this plane shipped to Chicago, and I hope everything works out." And she said, at that moment, here was a cry of the humanity sitting at my elbow. And I was just too busy, too self-involved, too concerned with my own space to just give this woman that moment. And I just turned and said, "Forgive me. Forgive me. I want to hear about your husband. I want to hear about your life. I want to hear about what went on to be married so many years." And she said something shifted inside of her from that moment on. As far as possible, be on good terms with all people, even the dull and ignorant, for they too have their story. So when we're all, caught up in how cool we are and everything, we don't have time for small talk, all that, there's a cry. It's a human condition. And that small talk is someone that wants to make a connection. So that when we open our hearts, that small talk can absolutely dissolve into just love and being there at that moment. Because our viewpoint depends upon our point of view. So the thought, when we recognize that everything stems from thought, that energy, the word, remember, that which we utter, that the throat center is the power center, that we speak things into being. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. And nothing was made that was made without this Word. So we're so powerful. And if we think we're having a really crappy day, we're actually putting that out there into the universe, and we're telling other people about it, and they're coming in and they're agreeing, and we're all now sharing stories about, ain't it awful? We're always going to attract a sympathetic vibration. But when we rise above that moment, and we all have our moments, it's part of the human condition, and it's okay to say, "I'm having a moment here," okay? And just be in that moment. And then set your timer, and then get off it, and get moving. Because that's how the world works. That as we resolve to evolve, as we acknowledge together that in thought, word, and deed meaning action, that faith without works is dead. I put the works with the faith, and something begins to happen because I'm putting intention with it. I'm putting that energy with it. And when we're recognizing that not everything is the same, it's not the same. When I was in Scotland, it was interesting. After our international congress, I left the Hilton Hotel, and I rented a flat. And the woman that owned it, she had like her suite, and then I had mine, and it was quite lovely. It was 4 stories high, and it looked over this gorgeous graveyard with the old Celtic crosses and the energy of Scotland. It was green, and it was lush, and it was roses, and it was just beautiful. And every morning I would look out, on this amazing scene. And Neil Stroud's anniversary of leaving the planet is 7/11. So, I went and walked to the graveyard, and I just took some pictures of the roses, and I did a blessing for Neil. And so I took a cab one day, and I had just gotten there. And I wasn't real oriented to the space at that time. And so I called for the cab, and I actually took a bus, and I took the wrong bus. So I ended up somewhere where I wasn't supposed to be. And the grocery store owner said, let's just call the cab. And I gave him my phone, and he put it in, and the cab got there. So then I'm telling him I'm at 3 New Haven Road. And he drives up and he goes, we're at 3 New Haven Road. And he's from India. And I said, no, this isn't where I'm staying. This isn't where I'm staying at all. He goes, no, this is 3 New. I said, no, it isn't. Call your man. This is not where I'm staying. And I was very emphatic. And so he starts driving it around and goes to the further New Haven. I guess there's, further down. And I said, no, this isn't it. He goes, we were already at 3 New Haven Road. He goes, I'm telling you, I had you at 3 New Haven Road. And I said, but, that wasn't it. It has a beautiful graveyard, and it's got Celtic crosses, and it's got roses, and the actual flat has grass, in front of it. He goes, my lady, there is a wall there. You can't see the graveyard. You can't see the grass, but I'm telling you, this is a 3 New Haven place. So I go, it is? Oh my God. I go, okay, let me just walk up there and look and see if there's anything familiar. So I look and I say, oh yeah, there's the grass. He goes, yeah, we're down low. You can't see the graveyard. When you're up high, you can see that's a big wall. And I go, I just got here, and I'm so sorry. And I said, I was even thinking you were kind of milking it for extra fare, and I'm going to give you extra fare. So I gave him 5 extra pounds because he was so loving and so wonderful and gave me a hug. He said, oh, I understand completely. One can get disoriented here in Edinburgh. And I understand. And he was just so loving. And I thought, and I said, oh my gosh, I really am at 3 New Haven Road. But I didn't recognize it from this vantage point. So when we're higher up, we see the whole view. When we're at a lower space, and I'm talking about consciousness, we don't see the beauty, the energy, the aliveness, the opportunity, and we are arguing with life, so to speak, that this isn't it, but this is it. We've arrived. Get out. Open the door with the key. You've got it. And it's such a wonderful sacred motif for me, energetically. And when I hugged him, I just said, oh, you are so kind. You're the kindest man in the whole world for putting up with me. And he goes, oh, no, I understand completely. It was just that kind of connection. And what happened in Scotland is that I wanted to go to the Rosslyn Chapel. And that's allegedly where the Holy Grail is buried. And when I went out there on July 11th, and I went inside, and it was like children screaming. It was wall-to-wall people in this gorgeous chapel, and people taking all these pictures, and it just seemed almost sacrilegious. And I said, I got to go just sit out in the garden. And I sat in the garden, and I felt the energy. And I thought, this is a special anniversary. And as I looked down at the grass, my husband's favorite flower was daisies. There were all these miniature daisies. I mean, there were fairy daisies all over the grass. And so I sat there in awe over this message that I am receiving. And I thought, the universe always gives us what we need, at whatever moment that is, when we resolve to evolve. And we want to be out of the energy of the 3-ring circus, which life can be. There's the garden. We can go into the garden. We can commune. We can be in that energy field. And faith in humanity is restored. At the Nobel Peace Prize Institute, I was part of the Nobel Peace Commission. And in Norway, there were T-shirts made out of hemp. And they said, faith in humanity restored. So I bought some for my kids because I just loved this statement. And when we were out and about, I realized that I didn't have any English pounds left. So I went up in a little town called Kelso, and I put my debit card in, and some guys, came up, and there was real loud rap music, and they were all young, and they were kind of in a hurry, and I'm doing my little transaction, and I take my card out, and I put it in my purse in the slot. And then we get to the Alnwick Castle where they filmed Harry Potter, and also Downton Abbey, and I was getting some souvenirs for friends. and family, and I went to get the card, and it was not there. Now, we are in Europe, and, I'm far away from home. And the woman at the cash register in the Castle gift shop was so concerned. She went through everything. She was like, sometimes, we see things better. So she was going through my stuff in my purse, and you know how it is. Someone else can see. It was not there. So she called security. No one had found a credit card. And so I said to my tour guide, we had like 20 of us in a minivan, I seem to have misplaced my credit card. It's not here. And this is my debit card, and it's the only card I have in Europe, so I'm just going to really know that it's going to be returned to me. So she told me a story about her credit card, 10 pounds, and it was returned to her the following day. So the woman from Germany who was sitting behind me said, oh, you must cancel it immediately. Cancel it because, someone will get a hold of it and, they'll start using your credit card. Oh, you must cancel it, cancel it, cancel it. And I thought, you know what? I'm not going to do that. I just have this feeling. I mean, we are we are in Scotland. I just have this feeling it will be returned to me. And I just let it go. And then I'm on the phone to my assistant. She's giving me the actual credit card number so that when I leave with my luggage, I can just click it in and, pay for my luggage. And so as I was doing that, a woman came up in our group and said, I found your credit card. I found it on the street of Kelso, near the ATM, and I took it to the police department. Now, we are not going that way on the way home. We're going the coastal route. But I just had this feeling that they emailed the police. Incidentally, in Kelso, Scotland, the police department closes. I said, I have never heard of a police department closing. Yeah, they're closed. Oh, yeah, they're closed. And so I emailed and said, gave the last 4 digits of the number. I have authorized this tour guide to go in and get my credit card. And thank you very much. I talked to the tour guide. She says, we should know that she'll hit Kelso at 11 o'clock. At 11:30, I will call you. At 11:40, she called and said she went into the police station. He handed her the credit card. We'll have it for you at 7 o'clock tonight. And she said to me, this is nothing short of a miracle, that you can drop your credit card. And what happened is when I slid it into my purse, it went clear through and landed. But the rap music was so loud in the kid's car, I didn't hear it drop. And I wanted to kind of get out of that energy. And I just thought, that which I am seeking is seeking me. That when we resolve to evolve, that we can lose a credit card in Europe, and the next day it's returned to us, because with God, what? All things are possible to them that believe. It is done unto us as we believe in our hearts. Do you agree? Absolutely. And I only share that story with you because I know at the deepest level that which we are seeking is seeking us, because we are going where? Higher yet. Where are we going? Higher yet. Higher yet. That's where we're going. And to have that faith as a grain of mustard seed, and to know that there is only one. God bless you. I love you, and onward and upward.